Hi, everybody. Usman and Komal here from Sotheby's International Realty Canada. And today we have Lisa Rooks from our affiliate brokerage in Sarasota, Florida. How are you doing, Lisa?
I'm great, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Excellent, excellent. So, we're going to keep it short. We're going to ask a few questions about what's happening in Florida. But before we get into that, perhaps you could maybe, quickly introduce yourself, tell people who are going to be watching in terms of, where you are and how everything is.
Sure. I'm Lisa Rooks Morris, and I'm with the Lawful Rooks Morris Group with Premier Sotheby's here in Sarasota, Florida. And so far, things here, we've been very fortunate, and it's obviously too soon to tell anything for sure, but the numbers in Sarasota seem to be pretty contained and have leveled off when they were expecting things to begin, rising exponentially this week. Evidently, our hospitals are doing well, and we're able to meet the needs.
Excellent.
At least the way things are now. And buyers are still buying. There are a number of properties that are going under contract. And from what I'm told with the my own listings as well, but from other agents that I've spoken with whose properties have gone under contract lately, prices are still kind of holding firm because the supply. The supply and demand is there's still a pretty good balance, and people are still looking, and maybe they're deciding that even now, even more now, they'd rather be in Florida than some other places.
Yeah. So before, of course, the COVID-19 situation, hit the world, how was the market like in your area, let's say around January, February timeframe?
We had a great January, February, and I guess first even week of March. We had a great season really beginning in November. There's been a lot of demand. I think Sarasota is being discovered more and more. Is a great place to be in Florida in terms of culturally. It's I think the richest for the size town that it is for sure. And we have the beaches. We have a great downtown. So our season was unfortunately we had a great sort of early, really strong start to our season. So a lot of the realtors here, even though this is tough right now, we anticipate things being tough for a while. We had such a great start to the season that we're feeling okay.
Yeah, excellent. And everybody's hoping that this thing should pass as soon as possible. We hope.
Yeah. Right.
I think ultimately it boils down to everybody feeling safe and healthy, that we come back to our our normal routine in life to the extent possible. Yeah.
Right.
We personally think we might be in a new normal, but human beings adapt fairly quickly, and we're hoping that we will as well.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah,
So,
I hope so. I mean, it's, a couple nice things have come out of it. People are out walking a lot more here, enjoying some nice open outdoor space. Unfortunately, we have the weather that's, really allows that.
Excellent. And, we're seeing each other in person. Otherwise, we may not have.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad. This is great. And it's been really nice being able to, since we're all connecting virtually now, it doesn't matter whether you're down the street or in another country.
Absolutely.
So This is really great. Yeah.
Absolutely. So go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to ask that, are you seeing any similarities to whatever in the market is happening with the financial crisis to 2008?
Fortunately, no. And again, it may be too soon to tell, that may be coming, but so far, not at all. I mean, that was horrible here. It was really tough because we had, sort of an early, before 2008, our property values were appreciating so much. People were asking, when's the bubble going to burst? When's it going to burst? And it finally did. And then we were hit with, what everybody was hit with. So it was really tough for a really long time.
Yeah.
So right now you're saying the market is okay.
I'm sorry?
Right now you're saying the market is okay.
So far, it's okay. And again, we don't have the sellers that are desperate. I'm sure there are probably some that, are now feeling a little more motivated or concerned about what's going to happen in the future. But in 2008, I mean, it was people that had to sell. They were desperate to sell. And now it's more, at least right now, it's more of a psychological thing, not, people aren't financially, there hasn't been a big change yet.
Yeah.
Great.
So you're saying that activity is still, out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's still people buying. There's still people selling. Any take on what the turnaround could be for this market, assuming that we are back to some normality over the next, let's say, 30 to 45 days or so?
Well, so far, I almost, and again, I mean, we just don't know at this point, but we actually are getting a tremendous amount of interest. There's certainly less people that are going out and actually physically looking at properties. But I think there are people that are stuck at home now who are really thinking about, what do I want in the future? And, if I have to be stuck someplace again, quality of life. Yeah. And we're getting a lot of interest from, people in other parts of the country, particularly, up north and Midwest, yeah, who are maybe been thinking about Florida for a while or Sarasota, and now they're really looking at it, and they're wanting virtual tours of properties and doing their homework.
Excellent. Great. What's the temperature like at the moment, by the way?
It is, I'm guessing it's probably 82 here. I'll turn around. I'm in my home office, but you can see.
Oh, look at that.
It is. It's a gorgeous day. I mean, it's really beautiful. I'm not on the water, but the weather is amazing.
Excellent.
I went for a long walk this morning with my dog, and it's funny, there's so many people that are out. So they closed the beaches because there were still so many people, spring breakers, and they wanted to discourage that. There's still people who are walking on the beach, but it's not crowded. And it's nice to see everybody kind of out and about, and we kind of stay on the other side of the road from one another, but we talk distance and wave, so it's nice.
Absolutely. We were just talking about with a couple of our friends and say, hey, we can still take a walk together 6 feet apart. You get your drink of your choice, and we'll get ours, and then we'll just talk and
Yeah, I had I was invited over to dinner at a neighbor's home the other night, and it was like the biggest round table I've ever seen in my life. And there were like six, we all had a really good distance from one another, but it was nice to, kind of commune, and everybody none of us, we're all had been isolating ourselves, quite a bit anyway. So we're trying to be, super careful, take a lot of precautions, but not lose connection with one another.
That's a key.
Yeah.
Very quickly, when every time, market is a little bit down, people start taking a look at Florida as an opportunity market. Mm-hmm. Do you think that there's now an opportunity again in Florida in terms of making an investment for people who might be thinking about, for a second home or an investment property altogether? So, any thoughts around that?
And if you can tell us like the general price range as well.
Sure. I think, again, it's too soon to tell what's going to happen with prices as a result of Corona. And, if things really go down, Sarasota will go down, Florida, along with everything else. But right now, I think the opportunity is still great in terms of it being a lifestyle choice. I think that Sarasota specifically is a great opportunity in value compared to, some other markets. A lot of times we'll have people that are looking at Sarasota and Naples because they've decided that they want to be on the Gulf Coast of Florida. Sarasota is certainly more affordable than Naples. Culturally, it's very, very rich. You see water everywhere, and it's more of an affluent community, but it's not pretentious. It's pretty low key, and we have universities, and we have great theater. We have an opera, ballet. We kind of have it all. We have a great downtown farmers market, and it's a beautiful place.
Excellent.
Great museums. We just had a really fantastic new museum. So again, for the arts, it's unbeatable.
All right. Last year when we met, that was going to be one of our destinations this year. And now, of course,
I know.
Changed a little bit, but still hoping that we can make it out there at some point either later this year or early next year.
I would love that. I really would. So what's it like for you guys up there? How are things?
They're slow, but as you said, the activity is still happening from a real estate perspective. Um, and people who have to buy, they're out there looking for properties. People who have to sell,
Yeah.
they have the listings out there.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, it's slow, and it's like 1 week at a time. But I did notice that the last week the trajectory was going this way around this time, and this week the trajectory had started sort of creeping up a little bit.
Yeah.
So hey, you never know. I think again, people adapt,
Yeah.
and
Right.
we think that we will adapt as well as as an industry, as ultimately real estate is one of those industries that does bring the economy back up, if you will.
Yeah.
Right, for sure. Yeah, it really is. I think it's just too soon to tell. I mean, I feel differently about it. Different days. I really was prepared for horrible news this week, and it hasn't happened, which has probably made me too optimistic.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a slow and steady recovery. I think that's what we think it's going to be. I don't. On one hand, people say there might be a V-shaped, recovery back into the normalcy, if you will. But I think it's gonna take a little bit longer than a V-shape, if you will. So, but we hope that this menace ends as quickly as possible, and we're back to our normal routine.